Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. I remind as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot Media. The number 1 reason officers leave the police force is the poor working conditions. That's according to Security Minister Robert Montague, who was speaking at a handing over ceremony in St. Mary this morning. The minister handed over 4 new police vehicles to the Area 2 Division. Minister Montague highlighted that a total of 24 vehicles were purchased. However, only 4 was handed over to the Area 2 Police Division.
Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4 and 5, each will get a area shift command vehicle, brand new, and then each division will get a shift command vehicle. So we've got 19 divisions, 5 areas, 24 vehicles. So we bought 24 brand new vehicles.
He said that an additional 35 vehicles will be purchased early next week. 2 senior managers at the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, were fired yesterday as a high-level probe continues in the granting of some firearm licenses. Weeks after news that firearm licenses were issued to persons of questionable character, the senior director in charge of audit and compliance and the senior audit and compliance officer have been relieved of their positions. Their contracts were terminated yesterday afternoon. In addition, our news center has been informed that the decision has been made to introduce polygraph testing for all employees of the FLA in coming weeks. Several workers at the agency will also be transferred. A lengthy meeting took place yesterday at the FLA with a team from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA. Hundreds of files were prepared to be handed over to MOCA. Our news center has been informed that the files comprise applications from individuals with criminal convictions who were granted firearm licenses. MOCA will return to the FLA today to obtain copies of the files. It's reported that the applications were approved by the last 2 boards of the FLA. Some of the applicants were reportedly issued firearm licenses shortly after leaving prison. And the Jamaica Civil Service Association is insisting that the 2 FLA managers should be reinstated immediately. President of the association, O'Neill Grant, spoke with our news center.
The union has been talking about the precarious employment in the public sector, and particularly at places like the FLA where even the receptionist is on contract. And we are asking Mr. Darling to observe the protocols of the public sector and reinstate my members with immediate effect. And I'm going to say this. We had a meeting scheduled with him for Wednesday afternoon at 2, with a view to discuss the industrial relations climate in the FLA. And he has taken this very precipitous act of dismissing my employees ahead of that meeting. I don't know what is in Mr. Ladding's head, but one thing I can say is that the JCC and its members are not going to stand aside and allow Mr. Darling to breach the rights of our members by dismissing them in the way that he has.
The Clarendon police are investigating yet another murder in the parish. The latest incident took place in the Inverness community of Sandy Bay. Dead is 54-year-old vendor Cecilia Johnson. Her common-law husband and a 15-year-old girl were also injured in the attack. It's reported that about 11:30 last night, they were at home when heavily armed men with high-powered weapons kicked off their door and started shooting. The gunmen then set the house and a car on fire before leaving. Mr. Johnson, her common-law husband, and a 15-year-old girl were also shot. Mr. Johnson was pronounced dead at hospital. Her common-law husband is in critical condition. The 15-year-old girl was treated and released from hospital. A 5-year-old escaped injuries. The headless body of a man was found yesterday in Fernhill, Portland. Investigators are trying to find out the man's identity. Deputy Superintendent Ornette Williams from the Port Antonio Police provided details on the discovery.
At about 6:45 p.m., information received that a body was spotted in the Fern Hill area. As a result of that information, the police would have proceeded there, and the body of a nude male, about 6 feet 4 inches, was seen. The body has no head. From observation also, there's a lot of tattoo on the body. The matter is being investigated. Body is presently photographed, fingerprinted, and the body has been removed for further investigation.
It has been treated as a murder?
No, we can't say it's treated as murder at this time.
He had this warning for criminals in the parish.
Because, yeah, we are doing our best because we know that the fact that Portland is very quiet and the criminal will see it as a safe haven. But we the police will be relentless with our resources to ensure that we keep Portland as the safest parish in Jamaica.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Now, 4 murders have been recorded in the parish since the start of the year. A Jamaican wanted man who was caught in Cayman on Friday is to spend another 2 weeks behind bars in that country. O'Brien Ellis is facing 1 count of illegal landing. He's to be arraigned in 2 weeks. Mr. Ellis has not yet given his plea. However, if he pleads guilty, he's expected to be sentenced and deported. The Jamaican was arrested on suspicion of illegal landing and possession of marijuana. Mr. Ellis is wanted in Jamaica for arson and last December's murder of 44-year-old Stedman Sterling, a chef of farm in Westmoreland. The government is being urged to change certain terms of contracts with entities involved in state projects. Former president of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Don Mullings, wants conditions which prevent the underpaying of local laborers. According to Mr. Mullings, the problem of how laborers are paid should no longer be ignored. Speaking yesterday on RJR's Beyond the Headlines, he argued that the daily rate, which is less than $2,000, is inadequate in today's economy.
Our workers are paid an average of $1,500 per day. There's a JIC agreement, and that agreement is between the workers and all the trade unions. And incidentally, the government is always represented at the negotiating table. We believe that all that our government needs to do, government that promised to represent all the people, is to simply write in the agreement with whoever doing a government project that they must pay a minimum rate. And the minimum rate, an acceptable rate by all parties, including the government, up to before the Chinese came, was in fact the JIC rate. In fact, if you look at the JIC rate, it's signed, it's witnessed normally by the Minister of Labour.
President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helene Davis-White, is calling for the government to focus more on sports and entertainment in schools. Mrs. Davis-White was speaking at the Jamaica Teachers Association 53rd Annual Conference in Montego Bay, St. James recently. She says not every child in school can be focused on academics. She thinks the government should invest more in sports and entertainment, areas which she believes are already putting Jamaica on the map.
I'm coming from London, and once you get there, one of the first photos that you see in the airport is Usain Bolt. Yeah, he is a person, not any of our politicians. Nobody don't know them. Who they know are our sportsmen and our entertainers.
The life and legacy of national hero Marcus Mosiah Garvey was celebrated at a civic ceremony held recently. The ceremony commemorated the 130th anniversary of his birth and his 53rd year as a national hero. The floral tribute, held on August 17 at Lawrence Park in St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne, was attended by members of the political fraternity and members of the diplomatic corps. Speaking at the ceremony, Culture Minister Olivia Grange lauded his contribution to the development of black consciousness.
Garvey's statue looms large, a reminder of his influence on the world stage, a reminder of his determination not just to uplift black people, but to help us understand our innate power. Up, up, you mighty race. You can accomplish what you will.
Member of Parliament for Northeast St. Anne, Shahini Robinson, noted that the ceremony's theme is a principle that should be adopted by young Jamaicans.
The theme, take advantage of every opportunity, and where there is none, make it for yourself, is quite fitting in today's world. Certainly, it forcefully brings to mind the importance of what our young people, in particular, need to do in order to take their rightful place in society by making use of opportunities.
Though never setting foot on African soil, Garvey is revered as one of the most influential Pan-Africanists. Born in Jamaica in 1887, Garvey founded and developed the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the UNIA, into a major international organization that had at least 5 million members in more than 50 countries in the 1920s. And time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we speak to a wound specialist about diabetic foot ulcers.
The treatment for diabetic foot ulcer, the main treatment is for persons to actually do preventative measures. So you'd want to advise these patients, once they're diabetic, to have their blood glucose checked on a regular basis. They're to inspect their feet daily for any blisters, any redness, and they're to see their podiatrist if they have one, or their regular physician. Also, you want to encourage persons to do exercise and to just watch their diet on a whole.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. Wash your feet every day. Keep toenails adequately trimmed, but not too short. Keep your feet dry and moisturized. Change your socks frequently. See a doctor for corn and callus removal. And wear proper fitting shoes.
And we go now to news in sports. World Championship 100-meter semi-finalist Sasha Lee Forbes was the most impressive Jamaican on the day, as all three local athletes booked their semi-final place in the semi-final round respective event on the opening day of track and field at the 29th World University Games in Chinese Taipei. Forbes first posted 11.41 to take her opening round of the event before registering 11.39 in winning her second round heat. Now Taekwondo Tracy followed suit in the men's equivalent as he opened his encounter with a 10.43 seconds clocking to take heat 1 of the men's 100-meter. Tracy then lowered his time to 10.32 in his second round effort, albeit for the runner-up spot behind Jan Volko of Slovakia, 10.31. Jamaica's other competitor, Donley Loney, advanced as a non-automatic qualifier to the semi-final of the women's 400 meters after finishing 5th in Heat 1 in a time of 53.87 seconds. And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.